Snow dusted the sidewalks like powdered sugar, softening the sharp edges of the city and turning everything gentle. Christmas lights blinked from storefronts and apartment balconies, casting warm reflections across frozen puddles. Ethan Harper tightened his scarf and adjusted Lily on his hip as he stepped into the small cafe on Maple Street. "Daddy, it smells like cookies," Lily whispered, her breath fogging the glass door. Ethan smiled. That's a good sign. He hadn't planned on bringing his 5-year-old daughter to a blind date, but when your babysitter cancels at the last minute and you don't have family nearby, you adapt. Being a single dad had taught him that. Inside, the cafe buzzed with quiet holiday energy. A Christmas playlist hummed softly in the background. Couples leaned close over mugs of cocoa. A group of college students laughed near the window. Ethan felt out of place immediately. He was 36, tired in a way that sleep couldn't fix, wearing a coat that had seen better days. His dating profile hadn't exactly screamed exciting. He worked in logistics for a warehouse, lived in a modest apartment, and spent most of his evenings helping Lily with puzzles or reading the same bedtime story on repeat. He almost hadn't come. The matchmaking group he joined online had advertised this as a Christmas blind date mixer. But as the evening approached, message after message came through. "Sorry, something came up. I don't think I'm ready to meet. Single dads aren't really my thing." By the time Ethan arrived, he'd been reassigned 3 times. Finally, the organizer messaged, "Last participant. Her name is Clara, she'll be there." Ethan scanned the room, unsure who he was looking for. Then he saw her. She sat alone at a corner table, hands wrapped around a ceramic mug, staring down into it like it held answers. Her dark hair was pulled into a loose bun, a few strands falling across her cheeks. She wore a simple coat and looked nervous. Ethan hesitated. What woman still showed up to a blind date that no one else wanted? He approached slowly. Clara." She looked up startled, then smiled politely. "Yes, you must be Ethan." He nodded. "This is Lily." Lily waved enthusiastically. "Hi." Clara's expression softened instantly. "Hello, Lily." They sat. An awkward silence followed, broken only by Lily swinging her legs under the table. "I'm sorry about this," Ethan said quietly. "I didn't expect to bring her." Clara shook her head. "It's okay, I almost didn't come myself." He gave a small, embarrassed laugh. "Looks like we're both the leftovers." She smiled sadly. "I guess so." They ordered hot chocolate for Lily and coffee for themselves. Ethan tried to think of conversation starters, but his mind felt blank. "So what do you do?" he finally asked. "I work part-time at a bookstore," Clara replied, "and I take care of my mom. She's been sick." Ethan nodded. "That's a lot." She shrugged. "Life doesn't really wait for you to be ready." Something about the way she said it felt familiar. Lily suddenly leaned forward, studying Clara carefully. "Are you sad?" Lily asked. Clara blinked. "What?" "You look sad," Lily continued, "but Christmas is coming." Clara swallowed. "I guess I am a little sad." Lily thought for a moment, then reached across the table and placed her tiny hand over Clara's. "That's okay. Daddy says being sad doesn't mean you're broken." Ethan felt his throat tighten. Clara stared at Lily's hand, then at Ethan, then back at Lily. "What does it mean then?" Clara asked softly. Lily smiled. "It means you just need someone to sit with you." Clara's eyes filled with tears. She hadn't expected that. She hadn't expected anything from this evening at all. They talked longer than either of them planned. Clara shared how she'd moved back to the city after her divorce to care for her mother. How the marriage had ended quietly, without drama, just 2 people realizing they were lonely together. Ethan told her about losing Lily's mom to illness 3 years ago, about learning to braid hair from YouTube videos, about burning more dinners than he cared to admit. Clara listened without interrupting. Most people grew uncomfortable when Ethan mentioned being widowed. Some offered awkward sympathy, others mentally checked out. Clara didn't. She simply nodded and said, "That must have been incredibly hard." And for once, Ethan didn't feel like he had to minimize it. Outside, snow began falling harder, blanketing the street in white. Lily pressed her nose to the window. "It's magic snow," she declared. Clara smiled. "Do you believe in magic?" Lily nodded seriously. "Yes, Daddy says magic is when people help each other." Ethan blinked. He didn't remember ever saying that. But maybe he had. Clara looked at Ethan with something new in her eyes. "You're raising her beautifully," she said quietly. Ethan rubbed the back of his neck. "I'm just doing my best." Clara hesitated, then spoke. "I almost canceled tonight," she admitted, "when I found out you were the only one left." He chuckled softly. "Same." She took a breath. "But then I thought maybe the person who's left is the one who needs it most." Ethan felt that land somewhere deep in his chest. They walked outside together afterward, Lily skipping between them, holding both their hands. The cold bit at Ethan's cheeks, but he didn't mind. Clara told Lily about the bookstore cat that slept on the poetry shelf. Lily promised to visit. At Clara's bus stop, they paused awkwardly. "Well," Ethan said, "thank you for not canceling." Clara smiled. "Thank you for showing up." She crouched down to Lily's level. "It was nice meeting you." Lily wrapped her arms around Clara's neck without hesitation. Clara froze, then hugged her back, tears spilling freely now. "Be nice to my daddy," Lily whispered. Clara laughed through her tears. "I will." They exchanged numbers, unsure what would come next. That night, Ethan tucked Lily into bed and sat beside her longer than usual. "Daddy," Lily murmured sleepily. "Yes, sweetheart." "I think Clara needed us." Ethan kissed her forehead. "I think you're right." Over the next few weeks, they texted. Then they met for walks. Then Clara came over for dinner, bringing homemade soup. Lily insisted on showing her every drawing she'd ever made. Clara's mother improved slightly, enough to smile when Clara talked about Ethan and Lily. Christmas Eve arrived quietly. Clara stood in Ethan's small living room, watching Lily place a crooked star on their modest tree. "I haven't had a real Christmas in years," Clara said softly. Ethan handed her a mug of tea. "You're welcome to share ours." She looked at him, eyes shining. "I'd like that." Christmas morning came with laughter and torn, wrapping paper and pancakes shaped like reindeer. Lily wore mismatched socks and declared it the best day ever. Clara helped clean up while Ethan brewed coffee. Later they sat on the couch, Lily nestled between them, watching cartoons. Clara hesitated, then spoke. "You know what I told myself that night in the cafe?" she asked. Ethan shook his head. "I told myself I wasn't anyone's first choice, that I was just the person left over." Ethan turned to her. "But Lily," Clara continued, voice trembling, "Lily made me realize something." He waited. She didn't see leftovers, she saw people. Tears slid down Clara's cheeks. "She reminded me that sometimes the people who show up at the end are the ones who stay." Ethan reached for her hand. "I don't know where this is going," he said honestly, "but I know I'm grateful you didn't cancel." Clara squeezed his fingers. "I'm glad no one else wanted that date." Outside, snow fell gently, wrapping the world in quiet. Inside, three hearts beat a little less alone. A single dad went on a Christmas blind date no one wanted. But what she said changed everything. Because sometimes, love doesn't arrive with fireworks or perfect timing. Sometimes it walks in tired, holding a child's hand and sits down anyway.